From about 470 years ago, in the late Muromachi period, the Western revolutionary culture was brought to Japan, located in the Far East. Firearm is the result. There was a radical change in the style of warfare. And Christianity also appeared. Christianity was first introduced to Japan by Francis Xavier. After 2 years and 3 months, 2,000 people had become Christians in the heart of present-day Kyushu. Christianity was deeply rooted into the lives of people in this area. Is history moved to the Sengoku period. The center of power shifted from Nobunaga Oda to Hideyoshi Toyotomi. During this time, the policy of Japan towards Christianity changed drastically. Christianity began to be persecuted. After Nobunaga, Hideyoshi commanded the siege of Ishiyama Honganji Temple to suppress a Buddhist uprising. Hideyoshi was fearful that a uniting of religious power into one group might bring about a rebellion against his rule. He began to feel uneasy about the presence of Christianity in Japan. So Hideyoshi put a group of Christian priests called veteran and laymen to death as a warning to others, in an unusual move. Hideyoshi decided to make the execution of these Christians public. Hideyoshi arrested 24 Christians, including missionaries and laymen in Kyoto. On the way, 2 of the Christians who were caring for them decided to join the group in martyrdom. This group became known as the 26 Martyrs. Hideyoshi decided to put them to death in Nagasaki. Because there were many Christian villages in that area. Before they were taken to Nagasaki, their lobes were cut off, and then they were taken in ox carts all around Kyoto. Among them, there was a 12-year-old boy named Louis Ibaraki. He was born into a samurai family, and moved from Owari, presently Aichi, to Kyoto with his father. It is said that Louis served by taking care of sick people at a charity hospital where his uncle. People said that he was not very smart, but his smiling face brought peace to many people. He was an adorable young man. When the 26 Christians were taken from Kyoto to Yamamoto village in Nagoya, Saga, they were met by Hanzaburo Terasawa. He was a younger brother of the Bugyoer magistrator over Nagasaki, and had been ordered to perform the execution. Hanzaburo understood their fate, but he held no sympathy for how they believed. However, the young magistrator treated them with respect. Hanzaburo tried to save young Louis by adopting him into his family as a servant. But Louis refused to accept this compassionate offering. He rejected Hansbrough's condition that he forsake Christianity. Even though he was young, he understood Christianity's most precious teaching. We should live for the things that are of eternal value, not the passing things of this world. He wasn't interested in freedom, fame, the temporary prosperity of this world. To Louis, the most important thing was to be faithful to Christ to the end and not deny the truth. The group of 26 Christians left Yamamoto village, crossed the steep mountain path and arrived at Lake Omura. The scenery here is said to look like the Sea of Galilee in Israel. They were allowed to take a rest for a while. Perhaps they were allowed a moment of peace as they gazed at the beautiful lake. The group of 26 Christians went down to the pier at Sinogi, where 3 boats were awaiting them. They were put on the boats and moved across Lake Tokitsu, but because there were many Christians in Tokitsu, the guards were concerned someone might help the martyrs to escape. For this reason, the 26 were made to spend an uncomfortable night on the boats. Their hands were bound, and they were not able to move at all. Conditions were cramped, and sleep was impossible, so the captives could do nothing but await the dawn. The 26 martyrs' journey finally came to an end. They had walked for over a month, traveling a distance of about 800 kilometers, all the way from Kyoto to Nagasaki. All during this time, there was no fear of death in their hearts. They gave thanks to God for all the difficulties and trials they suffered. In the end, they fully embraced martyrdom for the sake of Christ. Louis Ibaraki and 2 other young boys, named Anthony and John of Goto, went up the hill singing psalms of praise. On that final morning, they were taken to the hill called Nishizaka. There they first beheld the crosses that had been prepared for them. The time came, and the 26 Christians stood before 26 crosses. On that afternoon, February 5th, 1597, on the hill called Nishizaka in Nagasaki, their blood was shed and they became the first Christian martyrs of Japan. In 1598, the next year after the 26 martyrs were put to death, Hideyoshi himself fell ill. It is said that he was so worried over the health of his young son that he also became sick. Hideyoshi passed away in August of that year. His last poem was as follows. I have dropped and vanished like the dew. All things at Nanawa were only a dream, in the end. He saw that his life was so brief, evaporating quickly like the morning dew. All the days of his rule at Nanawa passed like a dream that was too short. Hideyoshi lived through many wars, and finally brought the whole of Japan under his rule. But even at the height of his prosperity and power, his life was full of struggles with his never-satisfied desires and endless fears. Is the most powerful man of his age. Hideyoshi saw that the world and all that is in it passes away too quickly. Life seemed too short, and all man's works in vain. Life passed quickly for the 26 martyrs as well. One of them wrote his letter to his family about his feeling. When we feel faint of faith and lacking in courage, let us remember the example of the words and works of the 26 martyrs of Nagasaki. As we remember their story, let us find new strength and encouragement to live.